say, yeah, let's do it. I have some interesting takes about Christmas movies. I take Christmas very seriously.
So do I. So do I. I'm out
yeah.
here in
I have a lot of
November
friends
we
who
got
are
our Christmas
Scrooges.
tree November 1st. Like we were just all for it.
No. No, we put ours up like the week before Thanksgiving, mainly because we had the energy to, and we were like, fuck it. Put it up now while we have the energy, and then slowly put up the rest throughout the week and over the Thanksgiving break that we had from work and school. So yeah, it's so what is I have mine in bottom to top order.
I was gonna say Home Alone 2 at number 1. That's bold.
So I'm gonna honorable mention 3.
Okay.
Because these movies, I wanted to call them out and talk about them a little. You have one of them, but I wanted to talk about the other two. So one of them is Die Hard. It's a Christmas movie, but I'm not gonna put it in the top 5. I do view it as a Christmas movie. I watch it around Christmas every year, but it's not like the theme of Christmas, right? It just happens to happen during the Christmas season. So it's on there. I watch it every Christmas. I do view it as a Christmas movie, but it's not like the best or in my top 5. I also have It's a Wonderful Life. I think this movie is not that good, if I'm being honest. But the reason I have it as an honorable mention is it's always been a thing my parents they watch it every Christmas Eve, cry like babies, and it's something I've learned to appreciate because of that. But I just don't think it's that great of a movie. And then I also have The Santa Claus with Tim Allen. The first one was okay. The second one and third one were very weird. So I just wanted to call those out. But to start off with my number 5, it is Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, the claymation. Old school, short to the sweet, very good story. And I was very endeared to it as a kid. Do you want me to just go through?
Oh, sure. Here. Actually, what was go say it again. Say it again. I want to do something. Number 5. Okay. What is it?
So yeah, I got Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, claymation.
I gave you an applause.
Okay. Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Like, it's hardly like it's not really a movie. It's really short, right? They're only like 50, 60 minutes. It's a short like claymation, but I watched it all the time as a kid. I think it's a lot of things that young like people our age we watched a lot as a kid, and that memory has kind of been implanted in us of this movie. So it gets my number 5 slot for that reason.
So you know what's funny though too, and I'm gonna get into my number 1, but How the Grinch Stole Christmas. You know the original one, the
2D?
like the do you know there was a TV
Cartoon.
special? I used to be like 8, and I used to think that was like a full feature movie that they play during Christmas, but because of the commercial break when he's falling over the edge of the cliff with his dog, and you remember that scene or whatever, and then it cuts out to commercial, and then it comes back, and that's like ingrained in your memory. There's only one commercial break because it's only two commercial breaks or whatever, 2 sets long. Like it doesn't need another commercial break because it's not long enough to have one.
No, it's not.
And so I just think that's funny because I used to think that there were like, this was like a full movie. No, it's just, it's literally just 30 minutes. Not even actually. I think it's like 26.
Yeah, it's
I never knew that for some reason.
I think a lot of those are like those the reindeer claymations, Saint Nick claymation, which had the Heatmeister and the Snow Miser. They were all super short, and when I was a kid, I felt like they were longer. But Rudolph's my number 5. It was just a classic. I don't think you can argue with it. So
my number 5 is Home Alone 2. I loved it as a kid. Home Alone 2. Well, I would put it, I think, and I don't know, like if you, because you obviously have Home Alone 2 at the top. Sorry for spoiling it.
And I have my reasons. No, I have my reasons.
So like I like the original Home Alone more than I like Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. Home Alone 3 can
Okay.
kick rocks. I've never seen it, and I don't want to see it because the
I
cover.
think they made like a fourth and a fifth one too.
Did they really? No, they didn't.
I know they made a fourth one. It was like a kid in a rich ass house, and he did a bunch of shit with his rich ass contraptions.
I just love Home Alone
Anyway.
2. I used to watch it with my grandma when I was little, and it was like always
Home Alone 4, Taking Back the House.
Oh my God, come on.
Didn't have Macaulay Culkin after.
No, like after 2 they never had him. Like I think it was like 2 was the last
only
one.
in the first 2. Yep.
And so who's your number 4? Who do you got?
I got How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the Jim Carrey one.
Okay, perfect.
It's another it's bad, right? It is so far from the source material, which is what this was like the first one of those weird Dr. Seuss movies that studios just like leached off of to make weird adaptations because the stories weren't long enough to make into 1 hour and a half feature films. So they had to put a bunch of random extra shit in it. And they did just goofy stuff. They put adult humor. They did this movie, and then they did like the Cat in the Hat, and then they did
yeah, right.
and yeah, with Mike Myers.
Yeah.
And
wonderful.
I'll say this about this. Jim Carrey does a very good job, and he's
absolutely.
very funny. That's the only. If without Jim Carrey, this movie would be one of the worst Christmas movies of all time. And like the theme is still there, but Jim Carrey is what makes it funny. Like I will always laugh at 5 o'clock, solve world hunger, tell no one. Like I will like that whole monologue where he's like, at 7 dinner with me. I can't cancel that again. Like I just will always.
Yeah, I know. I know what you're saying. Yeah.
Yep.
So my
yeah, I got it 4 for that reason.
So my number 4, and I'm gonna die on this hill. Katie can hear me, right? And she hates this. All right. My number 4 is Elf. Now I will die on this hill. Elf is a good movie. It is top tier. Like, and I know, and I hate Will Ferrell. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I used to grow up thinking like, oh, Will Ferrell's a good actor. And I was like, 4 and didn't have an opinion. So I love Will Ferrell in this movie. The only other thing that I can actually like reasonably watch him in is either Step Brothers or Talladega Nights for whatever reason. And so
Anchorman is his other one, but
and I actually found that funny because I actually liked Anchorman 2 more than I liked Anchorman 1. Somehow or some way, but and I didn't watch Anchorman for the longest time because I was bullied in high school. And when I was bullied, because I had a YouTube channel, so I was bullied, and people would be like Ron Burgundy, behind my back or whatever, and it was embarrassing as a 15 or 16-year-old.
Right.
So I didn't watch it for the longest time, and I sat down and I watched it, and I was like, wow, this is good shit. But yeah, Elf is a good movie. I will die on that hill, and anyone who says otherwise can kick rocks, except for Katie. So, except for her, she's entitled to that opinion.
So, my number 3 is Elf. I grew up watching this every Christmas. My mom loves it. My mom's a Minions mom. Her film opinions are not always the highest of tiers, but
Right.
like it's a Christmas movie. I don't need the peak of cinema. I just need something that makes me feel good, makes me laugh, and at the end ultimately tries to give me like a lesson in Christmas, right?
Right.
Like, that's the whole goal of a Christmas movie. Take place during Christmas, have a theme of Christmas and giving and Christmas spirit and being good to people. That's all you need for a Christmas movie. That's all you need. So yeah, at number 3, I had Elf for that same reason.
Perfect. At number
who's your number 3?
So my number 3, I marked it out. Okay, I'm sorry. I marked it out. I had It's a Wonderful Life in there. That is not my third favorite Christmas movie. You know what it is? It is what's the one called? I'm losing the title. The one with
Story?
Scrooge. Shit. I love the Muppets one, but either one is good.
Christmas Carol.
A Christmas Carol. Yes, it is so good. It is like just a Christmas.
Like
what's that?
Which Christmas? They've made different versions of it, but so I'm wondering which one. Is it because there's like a Disney or Yeah, like a Disney one with like Donald Duck and all that.
Oh my
But then there's
god.
also like I think there's also some older live versions.
I feel like because
live action
so
versions.
here's the thing, okay, and I'm gonna come off as someone who's really uncultured. You want to I want to preface this actually. I've never seen A Christmas Story. Like I've never seen it. It plays all the time, and I've never seen it. I am the worst at movies. Yeah,
What?
I have never seen A Christmas Story. I'm dead ass right now. I've never seen it.
That's insane.
Yeah, it is, isn't
That's
it?
cra-
Isn't
you
it?
made me undo the microphone
So
from
I
my face.
also haven't
That's
seen.
insane.
So I also haven't seen the vacation movies, like the ones that everyone loves. Like I've never seen those. I saw the remake that they
National
did with Ed
Lampoon's
Helms.
garbage.
Okay, but I saw the
I've
remake that
never
they did with Ed
understood.
Helms, and I like that. But I did never seen the National Lampoons. So I want to preface that. Okay, so I've never seen A Christmas Story. But I've also.
Watch Christmas.
So I also saw the original, like, A Christmas Carol, like a few, maybe as a kid or something. I remember seeing it, but like, I don't remember it that vividly. The one that I really like watching is the Muppets one. Like, it's a good story. Like, it's
There's
just
a lot of
it's just
iterations on it,
objectively
so-
good.
It's a good. No, it is the quintessential story of.
So I feel like me
Christmas,
saying
right?
like the Muppets
good.
version is like is my top tier.
The one I remember most from when I was a kid was the Donald Duck Disney version with Mickey and all
Okay.
that. Like, but like there's been animated ones, there's been live
Right.
action ones. Like, there's not really a. I mean, anyone tells the story, right? It's probably just whichever one you watched most when you were a kid.
Right.
So no, a Christmas Carol is a great one to have on there. I can't believe, like, I've always said I don't like the National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. I never thought they were good. They're not the worst. I just don't think they're like fantastic Christmas movies. Anyway, number 2. Speaking of, I Have a Christmas Story. It played every year. It would be on when we opened presents on the TV. Because TBS would play it literally 24/7. It's on TV all the time. I mean, it hits every beat you need for a Christmas story. And see what I did there? Christmas Story.
Oh,
Yeah.
perfect. Absolutely, yeah.
So no, but it hits every beat, and I think the big. I mean, obviously, the big issue with it is it was made a long time ago. And there is definitely some problematic elements. There's a scene. So, like, spoiler alert, but sorry, the movie's been out for forever. The end of the movie, they're making turkey for Christmas dinner, and some dogs eat the turkey. It makes sense if you watch it. And so they go out to a Chinese place because that's the only thing open on Christmas, naturally, and they get like duck, and but then there's some of the restaurant workers are singing to the main family, and they're very much Chinese, and they're doing, they're singing with like Chinese accents, and it's haha, that's funny, Chinese accent, because they're singing fa la 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 la, but it said it's fa ra 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 ra.
Yikes.
Yeah, that scene didn't age fantastically, but it's still a good movie.
Yeah.
And I think it's very good, and I think it's one I've just always watched. Again, a lot of this has to do with nostalgia, right? Like, it was on every Christmas we watched it.
Well, I mean, to be fair, to that same point, real quick,
made me want to get a Red Ryder BB gun.
I watched a lot of The Office, right? Like, Office is one of my favorite sitcoms of all time.
Yeah, I would say these jokes aren't any worse than anything Michael.
And exactly, right. And they've on Jenna Fisher and Angela Kinsey on their podcast that they do, Office Ladies, where they rewatch every episode. They've actually talked about that too, they've talked with writers on the show specifically about that, especially in early episodes when they've interviewed and had guests on, from people who were either on the show or writing the show, whatever. And they've talked with them about like that specifically, where like the best thing you can do in that moment is learn from like, hey, let's not do that. You know what I mean? Like yeah, it wasn't great in the time, but like that was 10 years ago. And again, the best thing you could do is just say like, we put that out. We might not be proud of it, but it is something that like we aren't going to do again. Like we would never do that again, right? Like The Office would not exist now, right? And and I think that and the nostalgia is fine. Like watching that show, like there are parts of the show where it's like, yeah, this is not great. But like there's also like, you know, that 70s show had a lot of like sexist themes, but again, it's a 70s thing, so cliches. Anyway, getting ahead of myself. So my number 2, is that where we're at? My number 2 is Home Alone. The first one. The first one is so good. Yeah. Like I think that it is objectively better, and I like the second one. Like don't get me wrong, the part where he goes and connects with the store owner at that toy shop is really, I like that. It's really sweet. But at the same time, like I feel like it's forced.
These movies are the same.
They're very forced, right?
It's the same thing in the church. Yeah.
And the first one was very good because it was very like it was very unique. It was very you know, like signature. You know, like it wasn't trying to be anything else, I don't think. And so I just feel like that one is they're just better, you know? What's your number 1?
Home Alone 2.
Perfect.
And the reason is, and so I've always liked the second one. I had watched the second one when I was like 7.
Right.
I stayed the night at my cousin's house when I was very young, you know, 7, somewhere in that age. And they had Home Alone 2, and we watched that one as opposed to the first one. I don't know why. It just happened to be what we watched. And we watched it. That's the whole scene where they're going through the trap house, not like it was a literal house of traps. It was like we watched it, we rewound it, we couldn't stop fucking laughing. And I'll always have that memory watching it. And it's because of that I'm just like, it's the best one. And I didn't watch 1 until many years later when I was like a teenager, and it's good. Because it was pre 9/11, right? Goosey it was, as opposed to now. It's like that kid would not have gotten on that fucking plane. They would have checked for the ticket. Although now there just wouldn't be an electronic ticket or a paper ticket to be electronic. But no, but I appreciate that him getting lost. It's very contrived, but it's not so out of the realm of possibility that it kind of takes you out of the movie. It's like, oh, he got on the plane. He's a kid. He thinks he sees his dad go into one. He thinks, oh, that's where I got to go. You know, you don't know what an airport is when you're like, you don't know how to function in an airport when you're a kid. So you just follow your parent, right? Like, I didn't learn how to function in an airport until like this last year because I didn't fly a lot in high school, and the last time I had to fly a few times this year, and it was like, oh, this is how you like do airport stuff as an adult. So I did appreciate that, and like I said, I think it's very touching, and I don't know, it's fucking hilarious. I will always love Joe Pesci. So absolutely. And Macaulay Culkin's a star for a reason. So yep, Home Alone 2.
Perfect. So my number 1 is How the Grinch Stole Christmas. I just think it is, again, objectively good. And I don't think that it matters. You could put the animated TV special at number 1. I don't care. But it's good. It's a good story about a good person. Well, a guy who grows his heart, whatever. Again, like you mentioned though, the one, it's not like it's a good movie, but like you mentioned, it falls into that realm of just terrible movies that Dr. Seuss had made into books that made into movies, whatever. I want to tell you a story real quick about about it's a Wonderful Life. Okay, did you know this? And I don't know if you know this, but I didn't know this until recently. But It's a Wonderful Life did not.
Adam ruins everything to me, aren't you?
Oh my God, I'm about to. But here's the thing. Some people know this. Not from. But anyways, it's really interesting because It's a Wonderful Life did not do well when it was released in the 40s. And then it hit the public domain, and then TV cable companies started snatching it up because it was free, and so they could play it on run for as long as they wanted with no repercussions.
There is something to note about that because I looked into it.
Mm-hmm.
So it went in the public domain. It was actually it was more so due to a clerical error. They tried to copyright it.
Oh, did they really?
It was after the clerical error. They just didn't care.
Oh,
they were like, oh, okay. So it's like a half truth. They do still have to pay. They have to pay some royalties. The royalty they have to pay because it's based off a book.
Right,
so
they
have to pay royalties to the book owner, the book title, because that is under copyright.
Right.
But they don't have to pay royalties to the movie. It's very cheap to pay a royalty just to the book owner, especially because the movie was not popular. Now they probably have to pay a little bit more, but yeah, it is funny, and now it's a Christmas classic because it's all about,
Right. Well, because the crazy part. I don't think is that about the like cable companies or whatever. Like obviously, like yeah, and that might be a little bit fabricated for being the interestingness of the story. But the interesting part is that it just didn't do well when it first released. Like people were like begging people to come see this movie, and yeah. But I was just watching that episode of Adam Ruins Everything the other day. Griff,
can I tell you one real quick before we take a break?
Mm-hmm.
I have a worst Christmas movie.
Oh my God, you're gonna
never understood. I've never. I know it's the spirit of happiness, and so I'm not gonna shit heavily on the movie. I shouldn't say it's the worst. It is the one I like the least. That's an important one because it's very well done. I think. I just don't like it. If that makes sense, it is the Polar Express, and I know people have wanted to straight up fight me when I've said this.
Katie would fight you. Like, she would fight you.
People love the Polar Express, and I get it. It's beautiful. That animation is gorgeous, considering how old it is too. Tom Hanks, fantastic, and the story's cool. But I always just felt so about it. Like it just never stuck with me when I was a kid, and. So to me, it's just like if it's so like I will watch, any of the movies we listed. I would probably watch the Polar Express over National Lampoon.
Interesting.
But National Lampoon is like I think the worst. This one's just one where it's like I think it's like the most overrated. But that just that is my probably hottest Christmas take. But if you like it, that's cool. We can all have different opinions, That's okay. We have different feelings on different things. Don't fucking come after my ass. I just won't watch it, and you can. Easy as and I'll go watch Home Alone 2 again. So
perfect. That is, I think that is so funny. Sorry, I'm looking into.
I was just saying next week we'll talk about some Christmas songs because boy, do I have some thoughts.
I'm sure. Well, because I work at Starbucks, right? So like the Christmas songs that they play at Starbucks, like sort of pisses me off, and
they probably play like weird shit, don't they?
Well, it's not bad. I think like the interesting part really is the interesting part like they don't play. They don't play what's it called like all Christmas songs. Like they'll usually just take a break or whatever, which is fine, but they'll usually take a break and play some like Taylor Swift or something, which is good. So anyway, Griff, you want to take a quick break real quick?
Yeah, and then we'll get back to sports.
Perfect.
We'll go from there.